stop for just one moment before you scroll away. Life moves so quickly that many people never pause long enough to hear the quiet voice inside their hearts. Every day brings another responsibility, another challenge, another reason to worry about tomorrow. Yet there are moments that seem ordinary on the surface, but quietly become the turning point of a person's life. This could be one of those moments. Perhaps you've been carrying burdens that no one else knows about. From the outside, people may see a smile, a routine, or someone who appears to have everything under control. But deep inside, you may be exhausted from pretending that everything is fine. You may have spent countless nights lying awake, replaying conversations, worrying about the future, or wondering whether your prayers have been heard. Many people believe they must face every struggle alone. They convince themselves that asking for help is a sign of weakness. They keep their fears hidden because they think no one would understand. But history has shown that some of the strongest people are those who finally admit they cannot carry every burden by themselves. There comes a point when every person reaches the limits of their own strength. Success cannot remove every fear. Money cannot guarantee peace. Recognition cannot heal a wounded heart. Even when everything appears stable on the outside, the soul can still long for hope, purpose, and reassurance. That is why moments of stillness matter. In a world filled with constant noise, true clarity often arrives in silence. When distractions begin to fade, people finally recognize the thoughts they have been trying to avoid. Some discover hidden fears. Others uncover old wounds they never truly healed. Yet many also find something unexpected: the courage to believe that their story is not finished. Every difficult season has a way of convincing us that it will last forever. Pain whispers that nothing will ever change. Fear predicts the worst possible outcome before tomorrow even arrives. Doubt repeats the same discouraging message until it starts sounding like the truth. But feelings are not always reliable guides. Think about how many times life surprised you in ways you never expected. There were moments when you believed a closed door was the end, only to discover later that it protected you from something you could not yet see. There were delays that felt unbearable at first, but eventually led to opportunities you never imagined possible. Growth rarely happens in comfort. A tree develops its deepest roots during difficult seasons. A diamond forms under immense pressure. Even the strongest bridges are built to withstand storms before anyone trusts them enough to cross. In much the same way, the challenges people face often prepare them for responsibilities they are not yet able to see. This does not mean every hardship has an easy explanation. Some questions remain unanswered for a long time. Some disappointments leave scars that never completely disappear. But scars are also reminders that survival was possible, even when giving up seemed easier. Instead of allowing fear to define tomorrow, imagine choosing a different response today. Imagine replacing endless worry with quiet confidence. Imagine believing that one difficult chapter does not determine the ending of your entire story. Every great journey begins with a single decision. And sometimes that decision is simply refusing to lose hope. The future is rarely revealed all at once. Most people receive only enough clarity to take the next step. That can feel frustrating because human nature wants certainty before moving forward. Yet progress has always belonged to those willing to continue even when they cannot see the entire road ahead. As this journey continues, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. The greatest battles are often fought within the human heart. Learning to overcome fear, disappointment, and uncertainty may be the most important victory of all. And sometimes, everything begins with one quiet moment, one renewed sense of purpose. want, and one decision to keep moving forward when giving up seems easier. The greatest transformations rarely begin with dramatic events. More often, they start with a quiet decision that no one else can see. It is the moment when a person chooses to stand again after disappointment, to believe again after heartbreak, and to keep walking even though the destination is still hidden beyond the horizon. Those small decisions eventually shape an entirely different future. Many people spend years trying to control every detail of their lives. They replay conversations long after they have ended. They imagine every possible outcome before anything has happened. They prepare themselves for failures that may never come. In doing so, they unknowingly surrender today's peace to tomorrow's uncertainty. Real wisdom begins when we recognize that not everything is meant to be controlled. Life has a way of teaching patience through seasons we never expected to face. Waiting is uncomfortable because it feels unproductive. Yet some of the most important work happens beneath the surface, where it cannot be measured or seen. Just as roots grow silently before branches reach toward the sky, character is often developed long before success becomes visible. Think about the people who inspire history. Their greatest achievements were usually preceded by periods of loneliness, rejection, failure, or uncertainty. Those difficult seasons were not meaningless interruptions. They became the foundation that prepared them for responsibilities they could not yet imagine. Every challenge strengthened qualities that comfort alone could never produce. Fear often speaks with confidence. It tells us that we have already missed our opportunity, that we are too late, too weak, or too broken to begin again. The longer those thoughts remain unchallenged, the more convincing they become. Yet history repeatedly proves that countless lives changed because someone refused to believe the voice of fear. Every new beginning requires leaving something behind. Sometimes it is an old habit. Sometimes it is a painful memory. Sometimes it is the belief that our past mistakes permanently define our future. Growth becomes possible when we stop measuring ourselves by yesterday and begin focusing on the choices we can make today. There is remarkable strength in learning to slow down. Modern life constantly encourages people to move faster, accomplish more, and compare themselves with everyone around them. But constant movement does not always mean progress. Sometimes the wisest step is to pause, reflect, and regain the clarity needed to move in the right direction instead of simply moving quickly. Hope is not pretending that problems do not exist. It is choosing to believe that problems do not have the final word. Every sunrise reminds us that darkness, no matter how overwhelming it appears, is temporary. Storms eventually pass, seasons change, and opportunities return in ways we often fail to predict while we are standing in the middle of uncertainty. The human heart becomes stronger every time it chooses courage over comfort. Courage does not eliminate fear. Instead, it teaches us how to continue despite fear's presence. The people who accomplish extraordinary things are not those who never felt afraid. They are the ones who refused to let fear become the author of their lives. Imagine standing at the edge of a long road disappearing into the distance. You cannot see every turn ahead, yet you still take the next step because remaining where you are will never lead you anywhere new. That single step may appear insignificant, but over time, thousands of small steps create remarkable journeys. There will always be voices telling you to give up, lower your expectations, or settle for less than you were created to become. Those voices become louder during moments of exhaustion and disappointment. Yet another voice quietly reminds you that every ending can also become a beginning, and every setback can become preparation for something greater. As this journey continues, one lesson becomes increasingly clear. Lasting peace is not found by eliminating every challenge. It is discovered by developing the confidence to face each challenge without allowing fear to control the heart. That confidence grows one decision at a time, one faithful step after another, until the impossible slowly begins to look achievable. The road ahead may still contain questions without immediate answers. It may still require patience, discipline, and perseverance. But every meaningful journey has always demanded those qualities. The important thing is not whether every obstacle disappears. The important thing is continuing to move forward with hope, wisdom, and courage, trusting that each faithful step is preparing you for the next chapter of your story. Every life reaches a moment when the greatest battle is no longer the situation itself, but the thoughts that quietly shape every decision. Fear has a way of repeating the same message until it begins to sound like reality. It reminds people of every failure, every disappointment, and every unanswered question, convincing them that the future can only repeat the past. Yet history has shown that the strongest victories often begin with changing what happens inside the heart before anything changes around it. Many people carry invisible burdens that no one else notices. They continue working, smiling, and fulfilling responsibilities while silently struggling with anxiety, regret, or uncertainty. Those hidden battles can become exhausting because they demand constant energy without offering any visible reward. Over time, the weight of unspoken worries becomes heavier than the circumstances themselves. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing they must have every answer before taking the next step. They wait for perfect conditions, complete certainty, or absolute confidence before moving forward. Unfortunately, those perfect moments rarely arrive. Progress belongs to those who are willing to move with courage, even when the entire path remains hidden. Think about the sunrise after a long night. Darkness never disappears all at once. Instead, the first light quietly appears on the horizon, gradually pushing the shadows away until the entire landscape is transformed. Real change often follows the same pattern. Small moments of hope slowly replace fear until a completely different perspective begins to emerge. There is incredible freedom in releasing the need to control every outcome. No one can predict every conversation, every opportunity, or every challenge that tomorrow may bring. Worrying about countless possibilities only drains the strength needed for today. When people learn to focus on the present step instead of the entire journey, they often discover a peace they never believed was possible. The past also has a powerful influence on the human heart. The old disappointments can become silent teachers, convincing people that every future opportunity will end the same way. Yet every new day offers circumstances that have never existed before. The future should never be judged solely by the pain of yesterday. Some of the greatest breakthroughs happen when individuals stop defining themselves by their failures. A mistake may become part of someone's story, but it does not become their identity. Every successful person carries memories of moments that seemed impossible to overcome. Those experiences did not destroy their future. They shaped the wisdom that later guided them towards success. Growth often requires letting go of beliefs that once felt comfortable. It may mean releasing fear, forgiving old wounds, or accepting that life cannot always be understood immediately. These decisions are rarely easy, but they create space for something stronger to grow. Every season of change asks people to exchange familiar limitations for new possibilities. There will always be voices encouraging doubt. Some come from the outside through criticism and disappointment. Others rise from within through insecurity and fear. The challenge is learning which voice deserves attention. When hope is allowed to speak louder than fear, entirely new opportunities become visible. Every meaningful journey also requires patience. Results rarely appear overnight, and lasting transformation cannot be rushed. Just as a seed spends time growing beneath the soil before anyone sees its first leaves, personal growth often develops quietly before it becomes visible to the world. What appears to be delay may actually be preparation. Imagine standing at the base of a mountain that seems impossible to climb. Looking at the entire distance can feel overwhelming. Focusing on one step at a time changes everything. Every step builds strength for the next one, until the summit that once looked unreachable slowly comes within view. Progress has always been created this way, through consistent decisions rather than dramatic shortcuts. As the journey continues, one truth becomes increasingly clear. The real strength is not found in pretending that fear does not exist. It is discovered by refusing to allow fear to become the final authority over life's decisions. Confidence grows through action. Hope grows through perseverance, and purpose becomes clearer with every faithful step forward. The road ahead will still contain unexpected challenges, but it will also contain opportunities that cannot be seen today. Every chapter prepares the next one, even when the connection is not immediately obvious. The important thing is to keep moving, to remain open to growth, and to remember that every step taken with courage brings you closer to becoming the person you were always capable of becoming. Comes a moment in every meaningful journey when people realize that the future is shaped less by circumstances and more by the choices they make every single day. It is easy to believe that life changes through one extraordinary event, but lasting transformation usually happens through consistent decisions made when no one else is watching. Every choice to move forward, every decision to refuse fear, and every act of perseverance becomes another stone laid on the path toward a stronger future. Many people spend years waiting for perfect conditions before pursuing their dreams. They tell themselves they will begin when they have more confidence, more resources, or fewer responsibilities. Yet perfect circumstances rarely arrive. The people who accomplish remarkable things usually begin with what they already have, trusting that each step will reveal the next opportunity. There is also a difference between being busy and making progress. A person can spend every hour working without moving closer to the life they truly desire. Real progress begins with purpose. It requires the courage to focus on what truly matters instead of becoming distracted by every urgent demand that competes for attention. Challenges will always appear along the way. Some arrive unexpectedly, while others remain longer than anyone hopes. During those moments, it becomes tempting to believe that the obstacles are permanent. But history repeatedly reminds us that every difficult season eventually gives way to another. Winter is followed by spring, darkness gives way to dawn, and storms eventually lose their strength. The same principle often applies to the struggles people face in life. Patience is one of the hardest qualities to develop because it asks us to trust a process we cannot fully see. We naturally want immediate answers and visible results. Yet some of the greatest achievements require time to mature. Just as a craftsman carefully shapes every detail before revealing the finished masterpiece, life often prepares people long before they recognize the purpose behind their experiences. The words people repeat to themselves also shape the direction of their lives. Constantly expecting failure creates hesitation. Constantly expecting disappointment weakens motivation. But choosing to speak with hope and determination gradually changes both perspective and action. A hopeful mind begins noticing opportunities where fear once saw only obstacles. Every setback carries a lesson for those willing to learn from it. Failure does not have to become a permanent destination. Instead, it can become valuable instruction that prepares someone for greater wisdom in the future. Many of history's greatest success stories were built upon lessons learned through disappointment rather than comfort. There are moments when moving forward requires leaving familiar territory behind. Familiarity often feels safe, even when it limits growth, but no explorer ever discovered new horizons by remaining in the same place. Progress demands the willingness to step beyond what is comfortable and embrace possibilities that have not yet become visible. Hope continues to play a remarkable role throughout every stage of life. It is not blind optimism or the denial of real problems. Instead, it is the quiet confidence that today's difficulties do not determine tomorrow's outcome. Hope provides the strength to continue when results are delayed and encourages perseverance when circumstances appear uncertain. Imagine a river carving its way through solid rock. It does not accomplish this because of sudden force, but through consistent movement over time. Human character develops in much the same way. Small acts of courage, repeated day after day, eventually produce extraordinary strength that cannot be shaken by temporary setbacks. As each new chapter unfolds, people often discover abilities they never realized they possessed. Difficult experiences reveal resilience. Unexpected responsibilities uncover wisdom. Seasons of waiting develop patience. Even painful moments can become part of a larger story that shapes someone into a source of encouragement for others facing similar struggles. The journey is far from over. New opportunities still lie ahead, along with lessons that have yet to be learned and victories that have yet to be celebrated. Every faithful step continues building momentum toward a future that is shaped not by fear or regret, but by courage, perseverance, and purpose. Those who remain committed to moving forward often discover that the road they once feared becomes the very path that leads them to their greatest growth. Every meaningful journey eventually reaches a point where a decision must be made. After all the lessons learned through hardship, after every season of waiting, and after every moment of doubt, a person must choose whether to remain trapped by yesterday or step confidently toward tomorrow. That decision rarely depends on perfect circumstances. Instead, it grows from the willingness to believe that the future can become greater than the past. Life has a remarkable way of presenting fresh opportunities to those who remain faithful through difficult seasons. Many people never recognize these opportunities because disappointment has trained them to expect failure. They become so focused on what they have lost that they overlook what is quietly beginning to grow right in front of them. Yet every new day carries possibilities that did not exist the day before. One of the greatest gifts a person can develop is the ability to replace fear with purpose. Fear constantly asks, "What if everything goes wrong?" Purpose asks, "What good can I do with the opportunity before me?" That single shift in perspective changes the direction of countless decisions. Instead of becoming prisoners of uncertainty, people begin moving with confidence, knowing that growth comes through action rather than hesitation. There will always be moments when progress seems slow. Dreams may take longer than expected. Answers may arrive later than hoped, and success may require more patience than originally imagined. But slow progress is still progress. Every lesson learned, every challenge overcome, and every step taken with determination becomes another part of a foundation that cannot easily be shaken. The future is never built in a single dramatic moment. It is built through ordinary days filled with consistent choices. Small acts of discipline become lasting habits. Quiet moments of courage become defining memories. Simple decisions to continue moving forward eventually create extraordinary stories that inspire others facing similar struggles. Imagine a traveler standing at the edge of a long road as the first light of morning rises over the horizon. Behind them are the memories of difficult seasons, unanswered questions, moments that tested every ounce of their determination. Ahead lies a path still filled with uncertainty, yet also filled with possibility. The traveler cannot predict every turn. They know one truth with absolute certainty. Remaining still will never reveal what lies beyond the next hill. That is the invitation life continually offers. So, it calls people to leave behind the weight of regret, release the habit of expecting defeat, and embrace the courage required to begin again. Every chapter, no matter how painful, carries lessons that prepare the next one. Every disappointment has the potential to become wisdom. Every challenge has the ability to strengthen character far beyond what comfort ever could. As this journey comes to its conclusion, remember that true strength is not measured by the absence of hardship. It is measured by the determination to keep moving despite hardship. The strongest people are not those who never struggled. They are those who refused to allow struggle to define the rest of their lives. When hope replaces fear, new possibilities begin to appear. When patience replaces frustration, wisdom begins to grow. When courage replaces hesitation, doors that once seemed impossible slowly begin to open. None of these changes happen overnight, but every step forward becomes evidence that transformation is already taking place. Your story is still being written. There are victories you have not yet celebrated, lessons you have not yet learned, and opportunities you have not yet discovered. The experiences that once seemed like obstacles may one day become the very foundation upon which your greatest achievements are built. Continue moving with confidence, continue learning through every season, and continue believing that every faithful step has value, even when the destination is not yet fully visible. So, as you leave this moment, carry these truths with you. Do not allow temporary setbacks to become permanent conclusions. Do not let fear speak louder than hope or disappointment silence your determination. Every sunrise offers another opportunity to choose courage. Every challenge offers another opportunity to grow. And every new beginning reminds us that remarkable change often starts with one simple decision to keep going. Thank you for staying until the end of this journey. If this message encouraged you, inspired you, or reminded you to keep moving forward, share it with someone who may need these words today. Sometimes a single message arrives at exactly the right moment and becomes the encouragement another person has been searching for. Continue seeking wisdom. Continue choosing hope, and continue walking forward with confidence. Your next chapter has not yet been written, and the best part of your journey may still be waiting just ahead.